together. And that's where we want to have a mark on your life, so that when you begin a new journey, you start it with with a lot of positive vibes around you, around your environment, in your friend circle, in the campus, because your footsteps in the campus will add more positivity if you come and join us with your positive vibrations here. So today, going along in the same line of the orientation program, we have with us a very noted speaker, and I'm very sure you love listening to Binita ma'am, because I have attended her talk once, and it was really so mesmerizing listening to her life stories and the challenges she faced, and like her journey for the Kaun Banega Crorepati, something which we watch on the TV, something we think, we feel maybe if I can also be a participant there, but being a winner there amongst so many, like thousands, we can say, who apply for the same, is a miracle, is something of that we can say dedication, is something we can say like fulfilling a desire that we all have. And Binita ma'am has really like presented herself, or has achieved that status of an ideal, okay, or an idol here, where we can look up to her, aspire to become someone like her. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Binita ma'am, for agreeing to our invitation to address our students on this orientation program on this occasion. And I'm very, very sure, including all the seniors who are with us today, that your session will undoubtedly leave a very deep influence in the lives of the students, and really will motivate them to carve out their lives in the way they want it to go ahead. So once again, on behalf of Royal Global University, I welcome Madam Binita Jain to the orientation program of the undergraduate students of Royal Global University. This is the 4th year of the Royal Global University that we are observing, and with the 4th batch of undergraduate students. We have almost 800 plus students who have registered for the various courses that are running under the university umbrella. So far, almost 400 students have joined the orientation, and there are a few, and we know the numbers are increasing and will increase more to 500. So with this initial words, ma'am, once again, welcome to the session and welcome to Royal Global University. Thank you so much. Over to Dimpa.
Thank you, ma'am. So now I request Ms. Binita Jain, ma'am, to continue her session. The platform is all yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Dimpa. And Banini ma'am, they were indeed very, very kind words that you spoke for me. Thank you so much. A very warm and vivacious morning to Professor Dr. S.P. Singh, the illustrious Vice Chancellor of Royal Global University, Professor Alak Buragohain, Chairperson Academics, Royal Global University, senior faculty members, and my dear students. It has been a week that you have virtually entered the portals of Royal Global University. And I must indeed praise the administration out there, the orientation committee out there, who have so beautifully arranged the orientation despite this absence of the students from the campus. I mean, I don't think you have left any stone unturned in making this year also the same as the previous ones. Hats off to you, all of you. So it has been a week that you all have virtually entered the portals of Royal Global University. And I'm sure the aura and grandeur of the institution must have already touched you. On the day that you and the institution are under the same sky, you will feel as though you are in the midst of a galaxy of stars. The luminaries, the professors of RGU, each emitting warmth and light that will ignite the individual in you. A hearty congratulations to each one of you for deciding to join Royal Global University. I would like to start off with a story so that I would be able to bring my point across to you. In your school days, you all must have read about the metamorphosis of a caterpillar into a beautiful butterfly. It is indeed fascinating to see how the caterpillar encases itself into a cocoon And when the time is apt, it tries to break through the cocoon. So one day, a small boy wandering aimlessly happened to notice a cocoon hanging from a tree's branch. Curiosity took him closer to it. He noticed that a gap had appeared in the cocoon through which the butterfly would emerge. He was fascinated and watched how the butterfly was trying to get out of the cocoon. It was taking a lot of time. The boy was getting impatient. And though the butterfly was trying very hard, the gap was as little as before. Have you ever seen this process of a butterfly emerging out of a cocoon? Those who are nature lovers, they must have, chance to see such a metamorphosis taking place. So the boy saw that the gap was as little as before, and even though the butterfly was trying very hard, it was finding it difficult to come out. Seeing the struggle of the butterfly, the boy felt that it would soon be rendered powerless. Who knows, it might die inside, and it couldn't come out. He decided to help the butterfly. He took a penknife and cut the cocoon. The butterfly immediately got out. But its body was weak and feeble, and the wings barely moved. The boy continued to watch the movements of the butterfly, thinking that now its wing would spread. Now it would fly up, and it would see the colorful wings. But that did not happen. The rest of its life, the butterfly had to drag its weak body and wings that could never spread and fly. The boy did not realize that the butterfly's efforts to struggle through the narrow gap of the cocoon was necessary, so that the life-giving fluid that is there in its body, it can spread out to the wings and make it stronger and capable of flying. If we are also allowed to live without facing difficulties and challenges, we would not be viable and capable of living up to our full potential. That is what was the point I wanted to bring across to you through this story. Life throws challenges in front of us, just like that caterpillar was facing, not the caterpillar, the butterfly was facing the challenge of coming out through the cocoon. Facing them and overcoming them would only make us stronger. Dear students, you have begun a new phase of your lives by stepping into college. It's a dream of a student all throughout his studentship in school to be able to go to college. It was so during our days, and I presume it has not changed over these years. This threshold of college, it has always fascinated every school-going kid. The world of high school and college are two very different phases of life. Though the two of them could not be further apart, there are some parallels. There are some parallels that could be drawn between the two. From childhood to teenage, the high school tries to prep you for the life as an adult. Whereas college, on the other hand, grooms and teaches you how to make the transition from a teenager to a professional of a corporate life, the medical or engineering world. In school, we are bound by protocols and disciplinary rules that we are tempted to defy. But there is always a fear of being caught and punished. Did you think college life would be different? Believe it or not, if you thought that your life as a college student would be any different, you are in for a surprise. Colleges are no more those institutions where you are free to do whatever you like, wear whatever you want to, attend classes as much as your heart desires, or flout rules and get away with it. At least Royal Global University is not. I am happy that most colleges have changed in their outlook, and you should be happier to be getting such an environment which, apart from making you more knowledgeable, will further etch in your minds the importance of the values of discipline, respect for authority, and teach you how to value time. One very important thing which this phase of your life will prepare you for and enable you to do is to learn how to fight your way through the cocoon of life. My dear students, life is not a bed of roses. It is strewn with thorns. Till now, there were many around you who might have been removing the thorns for you or showing you the way between the thorns lest you should get pricked. The journey hence will not be so easy. There would be roses as well as thorns for you to face on your own. If there will be endless opportunities, there will also be untold challenges and obstacles in your path. But that shouldn't dishearten you. Let me share with you my personal life experience and get across to you that even if you get pricked by the thorns, life does not stop. You rise up stronger than before. Exactly 30 years ago, I was of your age, a very bright student, having the hunger and zeal to study and gather knowledge. I had been the topper of the Assam High Secondary Board exam with the first position. But as was destined, I got married a year later, and my studies were left incomplete. However, I could not suppress my urge to complete my education, and I at least wanted to complete my graduation, which I did after my marriage. In fact, after giving birth to my son. I stood first position in that exam as well. I was very happy at having become a graduate, though had situation permitted, I would have studied more. However, I reconciled to the fact that the responsibilities of a married life and that of a mother of a child would not allow me to study any further. But that did not dampen my quest for knowledge, Getting degrees, going to college, that alone is not important. If there are certain constraints which does not allow you to do so, and you are hungry for more knowledge, you are hungry to learn, there are many ways out. Nowadays, things have become easier. I'm talking about those days when we did not have Google, when we did not have, the world at our fingertips. Nonetheless, I would take out time, I would use my spare time to read newspapers, books, articles, whatever I would get, I would devour it. And life went on. However, after 12 years of marriage, my life was ruthlessly torn apart. My husband, while on a business trip, was kidnapped by militants, and I was left alone with my 2 kids. My son was in class 6 and my daughter in class 2. I was shattered mentally and emotionally. I did not know what to do. Future seemed dark and uncertain. I knew that my kids completely clung on to me for support and guidance, which I was not being able to provide. As a mother, that pained me a lot for a year, but I could not muster that courage to rise up to the occasion. Gradually, I realized that I had 2 choices in front of me, either to give up or to gear up and get going. There were people around me, my friends and relatives, who were ready to lend a helping hand. But I knew that their support would be futile unless I helped myself. I had to fight my own battle first and then think about taking help from anyone. And today I'm happy that I found my way. I fought my way through life's cocoon. I have emerged stronger with wings which have enabled not only me, but my children also to soar high. I'll just share a small thought with you. It was told once by Eleanor Roosevelt, and I relate to that very much. She had once said, the former First Lady of United States, a woman is like a tea bag. You cannot tell how strong she is until you put her in hot water. And perhaps my strength also came out when I was in hot waters. My strength came out once I was in a challenging position and I became ready to face the challenges head on. After gaining my composure and regaining my mental stability, I decided to do something that would keep me occupied. What better than to do something that was so close to my heart always, and that was education. I took up teaching as a profession. It wasn't so easy as easily I'm narrating it today. I belong to a conservative and orthodox society or family, I may say, where it wasn't so easy for women to go out and work or women to take up any profession, you know. But that also was a struggle on my part, and I was adamant that I had to do something. I must do something. I took up teaching as a profession. Another major decision I had to make during that time was the education of my children. I could not stop them also from following their dreams, you know, just so that they would be near me, close to me. My son had always nurtured the dream of becoming a dentist. He appeared for the medical entrance exam, and as God would have it, he passed out with such a superb rank that he was offered a scholarship in a renowned dental college of India. How could I stop him? I let him go to pursue his dreams. And later, my daughter also wanted to study from Delhi University. I did not stop her too. As for me, I was left all alone. Life wasn't easy without kids. I reminded myself once again, I had to fight my way through this new cocoon that life has woven around me. I now decided to go ahead with my unfulfilled aspiration of studying further. At the age of 40, I started going to a B.Ed college. You know, I thought I needed a B.Ed degree as teaching had become my passion by then, and that degree would help me in the future. So I started going to a B.Ed college. You know, children, when I entered the class on the first day, all the students, they got up from their seats, thinking that their teacher had come. I quietly made my way among them and went and sat in one of the desks, much to their disbelief. Soon I got the B.Ed degree, and then I also did my master's in political science. You know, dear students, there is one more aspect of life that I would want to share with you. Till now, whatever I had narrated to you, whatever I had shared with you, was perhaps my own grit and determination and my willpower that was, you know, pushing me, that was giving me all the energy to move ahead in life. But I have realized and experienced from this tumultuous life of mine that God also helps only those who help themselves. I have felt God's help on various occasions. Not that I'm a very aesthetic person or any such thing, but you know, I do believe in some power that is there, you know, that has created the universe, all of us. And I did feel the help of that power behind me. One such turn came in my life in the year 2018. I had always been an ardent fan of the TV game show KBC, which was hosted by the superstar Amitabh Bachchan. I would religiously watch the show whenever it was aired, and I found that I could answer most of the questions. I would often visualize myself, you know, many of us fantasize, many of us imagine that this will happen someday. I also would visualize myself sitting on that hot seat and flawlessly answering all the questions, you know. And inadvertently, I would apply or register for it almost every season, whichever the medium would be. And by God's grace, in the year 2018, I was selected. After various rounds of tests and interviews, I reached Mumbai to play the game. I played well, and that result was that I was the only crorepati in that season. I do not know whom to attribute all of this to, but I can only say one thing: it was the culmination and reward of all these years of my quest for knowledge. After that, I got an opportunity to join Royal Global School, and here I am in front of you, Vinita Jain, Senior Coordinator of Royal Global School, an identity which I am proud of. Students, though we may not always realize, life's limitations can sometimes inspire us to strive for heights we may not have reached otherwise. No one said, you know, life was going to be easy. Did anyone? We have proverbs, we have adages, you know, since time immemorial, saying that life isn't easy, life is not a bed of roses. And there would be times when you would want to give up. Please don't. History is filled with famous people who failed before they achieved their goals. At times, they too struggle with a chronic lack of motivation and self-doubt and felt that they would never realize their goals and dreams. But they stuck at it. And we can all thank them for making our world a better place today. The truth is, some of the most successful people in the world have overcome tremendous obstacles in order to reach their goals. It's so easy to read all of that, but if you go to the depth of it, how did they manage to do so? Perhaps they were focused, they knew what they wanted from life, they pulled themselves along and pushed through odds even though they wanted so very much to quit. They were resilient and they persevered hard. They were conscientious and diligent in the minutest of works they did. And most important, they were people with right attitude, right outlook, and right vision. They might not have been the top scorers. We have stories, abounding history, where we have seen famous people who have carved a name for themselves in the pages of history, that they have been school dropouts, or they did not study even up to high school, or they failed initially. It's not necessary that they would be top scorers. They may not have been to the best of schools and colleges, but they definitely had the willpower and determination to carve a niche for themselves. I have a video for you. I would just like to share that. It is just a speech spoken by, it is just a speech by Michelle Obama, the former First Lady of United States. Do give it a watch.
Who are you going to be? And if you'll notice, I'm not asking what are you going to do, but who are you going to be? I'm asking you about how you plan to live your life every day. How are you going to respond when you don't get that job you had your heart set on? For all of you who are going to be teachers, what are you going to do if the students in your class next year just don't respond to your lessons? For all of you going into business, how will you react when your boss gives you a goal that feels way too high? See, these are the moments that define us. Not the day you get the promotion, not the day you win Teacher of the Year, but the times that force you to claw and scratch and fight just to get through the day. The moments when you get knocked down and you're wondering whether it's even worth it to get back up. See, those are the times when you've got to ask yourself, who am I going to be? And I want to be clear, this isn't just some vague platitude about building character. In recent years, we've actually been seeing a growing body of research that shows that skills like resilience and conscientiousness can be just as important to your success as your test scores or even your IQ. For instance, West Point cadets who scored high on things like grit and determination were more likely to complete basic training than those who ranked high on things like class rank, SAT scores, and physical fitness. So what we're seeing is that if you're willing to dig deep, if you're willing to pick yourself up when you fall, if you're willing to work and work until your weaknesses become your strengths, then you'll develop a set of skills that you can mold and apply to any situation you encounter, any job you might have, any crisis you might confront. But you got to make that choice. And let me just share just a little secret before I end. As someone who has hired and managed hundreds of young people over the course of my career, whether it was during my time as a lawyer, as an administrator, as a university, a nonprofit manager, even now as First Lady, I have never once asked someone I was interviewing to explain a test score or a grade in a class. Never. I have never once made a hire just because someone went to an Ivy League school instead of a state school. Never. What I have looked for is what kind of person you are. Are you a hard worker? Are you reliable? Are you open to other viewpoints? Have you stepped outside of your own self-interest to serve others? Have you found a way to serve our country, whether in uniform or in your community? Again and again, I have seen that those are the qualities that I want on my team, because those are the qualities that move our businesses and schools and our entire country forward. And just understand this. Those are the qualities that you all already embody. They're the values you learned from your parents, from the communities you grew up in. And today, more than ever before, that's what the world needs.
I hope the video made some sense to you. I really liked it when I saw, and I felt motivated. You know, there are a few things which we feel are important in life, whereas actually they aren't. There are very few simple things, you know, which are needed to make your presence felt, to make a mark in the society, to make a mark among the people who you are staying with. Dear students, you have entered a new world where many opportunities await you, and along with that, there are challenges too. Do not hesitate to grab every opportunity that comes your way. And also do not get cowed down by the challenges of life. Your life will be defined by the choices you make, by the challenges you face, and by the decisions you take. You may sometimes find yourself at crossroads, and you may be unable to decide what is good and what is bad for you. Take a judicious call on such occasions. If need be, break away from the herd and carve a path for your own self. That is what will make you rise above the crowd. Always remember, time and again, life will weave a cocoon around you. It is you who has to fight your way through the cocoon of life. Thank you so much. And I wish each one of you a very happy and a very productive 3 years in Royal Global University. May you come out of those portals of the university well equipped and well knowledgeable, so that you may face all the challenges of life head on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an inspiring and motivation talk you have given. And I think our students are now like able to like think that they will motivate themselves that no, I have to do it like that way. So, ma'am, I'll just directly go to some questions, like some which the students have write it in the chat box. So, ma'am, one student, they just wants to know how to overcome the hurdles and the obstructions that coming to their way while they go and achieve their goals. Like while achieving their goals, there are certain hurdles and obstacles that comes to their way. So they just want to know how to deal with them.
First thing I would like to say is believe in yourself. You have everything within you. Do not think yourself that you are in any way disabled or you will not be able to do something. And moreover, you should remove that thought from your mind that you are the one who is facing this obstacle alone, or challenges. God has put forward those challenges only in your life. There is no one in this world, I can say, who has not faced some challenge or the other at some stage of his life. So whenever you are moving towards your goal, you're moving towards your dream, there will be obstacles, there will be challenges. Gear yourself up and be ready. Do not think about the consequences. What will happen if I do this? Let it happen. We will see when it happens. Keep that attitude in front of you. And believe me, I still do that today also. I do not get, yeah, of course, I do get worried, but when any, I find myself in any adverse situation, but then that feeling within me comes up. It will come. I have to overcome that. Something, there is a unseen, unknown power inside us, which only opens its door when you are facing that challenge. That door is closed as long as you do not decide to face that challenge. The moment you decide that, yes, I will face the challenge, the door opens and that unseen power takes control and you are able to face that. Try that. I'm sure you'll be able to face any obstacle that might be there in your way.
Yes, very true, ma'am. So, ma'am, what is success to you? Like, how you define success, basically?
I don't think so. Success can ever be defined. It is not at all generic. It's so, I mean, it depends. It depends upon the situation. It depends upon the person, what he thinks to be a success. If you ask me, I don't think I have achieved success of any great measure till now. If success had to be that, I mean, I don't call myself successful, because successful cannot be, limited to a certain boundary. We cannot limit it. Success is something which is infinite. You reach one stage where you say that, yes, I have become successful. There is another goal in front of you. You cross that and there is a third one in front of you. But yes, positivity of regarding of moving towards that goal, that is in a small measure a way of, I can say, a trait of a successful life. The one who is successful is constantly on the go, is constantly, moving ahead to achieve his goal, to get something, to achieve something in life.
Okay, ma'am. One more thing is like some attendees asking how to deal with distraction and the peer pressure.
Very true. I mean, that's something, a very thought of question, because that is one thing which distracts not only youngsters, not only students, even us of our age also. Like today, if we have set our minds upon achieving something, there are distractions. You feel that, oh, let us drop this work today and go for an outing, perhaps. That's a distraction. Or maybe you would want to watch a movie, perhaps. All these are distractions. And in the bargain, you lose out on achieving or reaching towards your mission or your goal. So distractions will be there. Distractions are there. For that, you need to have a focused mind. You need to have a mind which is constantly concentrating on that goal of yours. Not that, you have to be a nerd, or you have to be, just doing things which is directed towards achieving the goal. I do not say that. A person's life should be a mix of all the things. There must be enjoyment, there must be, some form of entertainment, but there should be a time for everything. One shouldn't mix all the things together. While you are at work, you are at work. And the same goes for while you are, entertaining yourself, while you are enjoying your life, just do that. Don't think about work at that time. In this way, you'll be able to enjoy the best of both worlds. But yes, you do need a strong control over your mind to stay away from distractions. Some of us are there who face a lot of distractions. When I teach students, many of them, they come up with this problem that I sit down to study, ma'am, but as soon as I sit down, my mind wanders off somewhere. I feel such students, they find themselves so helpless. You try to get into your book. How will he get into the book? Because his mind is wandering off somewhere else. There are certain practices, like where you can have control over your mind, where your mind listens to you. You don't listen to your mind, but the mind is under your control. And that is a way to keep distractions away in whatever we do.
Very true, ma'am. So, ma'am, how you have balanced your personal life and the studies which you are doing at the same time, the research. So, ma'am, can you share your experience, like, so that it's like a guidance to our students?
That was one aspect which I actually didn't put in my in whatever I shared with the students, because that was, I thought, something very on my personal front. But if that would motivate the student, I would definitely like to share. It wasn't at all easy. Being a single mother and managing the whole household on my own, and also going ahead with the teaching profession, and together with that, setting up a goal where I wanted to get this degree and that degree. I mean, I had to multitask every time. I had to manage my time. Time management had to be there, you know, and there were times when I felt I should quit. Why am I doing this? But then, you know, that inner urge in me that no, I have to. This one last line, if I cross, maybe I will be able to. Had I quit at that time, you know, I would have repented today. That why didn't I cross that small thing? I have another video which I would like to show, which is regarding this only. You know, there are very many times when we are so close to our goal, but we get so fed up and we quit that. Without knowing that, a little more perseverance, a little more patience from our side, a little more hard work from on our part would perhaps make us reach our goal. I think I would like to share that video, which is very relevant now. Just a minute. I don't think so, it's here. Anyways, if I find it later, I'll definitely share with you.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, how to maintain a healthy mindset?
Be among right people. You know, let right thoughts enter your mind. Read good books. Do not let negativity, you know, pervade your mind, your life. Negativity is something which we all should stay away from. And I think that is one thing which I have always tried to stay away from. I do not like a negative environment, a negative atmosphere, you know, because that reduces your capability to work, to think, you know, it suppresses the positivity that is inside you. To have a healthy frame of mind, you definitely need to keep negative vibes away from you. If you know that talking to a particular person, you know, pulls you down towards negativity, avoid talking to that person too much. And if you find that there are certain people with whom if you engage, you feel energized, you feel some positive vibes coming towards you, try talking to that person more. That will bring out the best in you and will help you in getting a healthy mindset.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you are the winner of the Kaun Banega Crorepati. So, how will you, you are like if our students, if some of our students wants also to participate in that in KBC in near future, so how you are going to guide? Like, can you just say something so that our students in near future they can also go and try for KBC? Can you share your own experience from that?
You know, like after the show was over and I had given many interviews, the one question that was repeatedly asked to me was, how did you prepare for the show? And, you know, I was in a fix, what do I answer? Because till the show was being, till the show was being recorded, just 15 days before, I did not know that I was going to Mumbai. And to say that I prepared myself in those 15 days would be an overstatement. One cannot prepare oneself, you know, for such game shows where variety of questions are asked in a matter of 15 days. If you remember, while I was speaking, I had just shared with the children that when I completed my graduation, I did want to go ahead with my studies, but, you know, familial constraints and pressures of the society, you know, I couldn't. I thought I have done my graduation, that is all. But how could I stop that urge within me, that quest for knowledge that was there inside me? I would read newspapers, I would read articles, I would, you know, go through anything that would be a source of information to me. I don't know which knowledge helped me where. And actually, when I was sitting on the hot seat, you may not believe when I tell you today, we all must have seen the movie Slumdog Millionaire, which is something on the lines of the KBC game show only. So there, the participant who is there, he answers the questions, and every question has a story in his life to which he can relate. I can say that there were many questions where the same happened with me also. At some point of time or the other, maybe I had read something. Maybe when I was a child, I was very fond of comic books, you know, those illustrated comic books. I would read that, and some trace of that remained in my mind, and that helped me answer a question when I was on the hot seat. So to say that how one prepares, I think the whole life is a preparation. Your curiosity, your zeal to learn, all that is a way towards your preparation for such, game shows, or maybe any other such occasions where life may put forward a test to your knowledge. It's not a matter of just a day or two. Like even for the English language, we say it's not that tomorrow is our English exam and we can prepare ourselves in 15 days. It's never like that. I always tell my students, each day is a preparation. When you talk with your friends in school, that is also a preparation, because while speaking a sentence in English, you would know where I went wrong, or you would try to correct yourself. So similarly, it's just in the same way that to prepare oneself for such game shows, it is very, very important that the preparation is consistent and it goes beyond the limits of time. And as for the technicalities, every year the format changes. The technicalities are different, and the students are tech savvy enough. They know very well, they are connected to the social media. Every year it comes up in the social media how to participate. And as I said, God's grace, it always has to be there. So when among crores of people, there are about 200 participants to be chosen, obviously your intelligence, hard work, determination will not only count. You need some God's grace also to be selected among those crores of people. So that is what is the way to reach to such platforms.
Ma'am, there are also questions where students have asked about fears, how to overcome fear, because this is a phase of life that they go through. Now they have experienced fear in terms of examination, but they really, this small fear is also something very difficult for them to overcome. Can you put some your thoughts on this so that it becomes easy for the students to gain more confidence and to overcome this quote unquote word called fear?
Most of the students who are the attendees, they have just passed class 12 and they had a chapter in class 12, if they remember. It's deep waters. Okay, so in this chapter, they know very well there's a line towards the end. The only thing to fear is fear itself. There is only one thing we need to fear, and that is fear. When you start thinking it in this perspective, you will realize that there is nothing called fear. In that chapter, it was that the boy was very much afraid of the depths of water because of certain incidents that had happened in his life. And because of which he would stay away from water. He wouldn't go, he would stay aloof. His friends would have all the adventure in the water. But that boy, he wouldn't participate in any of that. But he decided that he needed to overcome that fear. How would he overcome that? By getting into water. The thing that you are afraid of most, you can remove that fear by delving deep into it. That is how the fear will go. Similarly, if you are afraid of, let us say, exams, if you are afraid of maths, staying away from it will not reduce that fear, or it will not help you in any way. You have to go deep into it. It's just like, facing that challenge head on, that come what may, here I am, let that fear come. I will face it. And, like I told about that tiny box inside us, which opens up, and that unseen, unknown power that comes out and takes control of the situation, you will experience that happening. And you will be able to conquer that fear. Believe me, there is much truth in this. Try it and reach out to me and tell that, yes, ma'am, we did this and we were successful. You will be successful. There was a video I had. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, what are the books you actually recommend for such preparations? Like when you entered the KVC, you must have followed some books, and also can you suggest some books which you like reading?
Like there wasn't any book. It is actually the format of the game. Like having watched the show for the last 10 seasons, you get a knowledge, you get an idea that what types of questions are asked. So, first of all, it's mainly related to India. It's related to the Constitution. It's related to Nobel Prizes. It's related to the history of our country, freedom struggle, and all of that. I'm telling about the higher order questions. Regarding the questions of the lower order, I mean, that can be asked from anywhere. Simply going through the newspapers every day, keeping abreast of what's happening around you, that is enough to make anyone, reach to the higher level. But once you come to the higher level questions, you need in-depth knowledge of certain topics. And obviously my knowledge of political science did help me a lot, because political science, I did my master's in that, and I really loved the subject very much. And having had a good idea about the Constitution of India and various other, Constituent Assembly, then the various amendments that took place, I found it quite easy. Like many questions that would be asked in other shows also, in other seasons also, I would be able to answer them. So I knew that my knowledge was on the right track, especially for this game. And rest is all luck, Maybe the right question was put to me at the right time. That was the thing that did the whole trick.
No, ma'am, luck, no doubt is a part of it, but the preparation, the years-long preparation that you must have gone through, unknowingly.
I would agree to you. I would agree with you on that. Luck also favors those who actually work hard and are very sincere with their work. Then you will find Lady Luck by your side. I do agree with that.
And we also, from your stories, ma'am, we also understand that it's very important to stay updated with the books and all the happenings around the world. Yes. And nowadays we see students, they don't stay connected to the world. They lack general awareness, at the same time, general knowledge of the current affairs that's around. So it's very essential for them to stay updated every day, in fact. And students are also losing the habit of reading newspapers.
Yes, it starts from the school itself, like schools, they promote such competitions among students wherein they participate in quizzes. Like we would participate in many quizzes. Like even in our school, we conduct so many quizzes where children participate, and for that, when they prepare, these memories, they stay for long, they stay in there, it's there in your mind. That's why to say that you prepared in a particular time limit, it's impossible. You cannot. Knowledge is like a vast ocean. You cannot take all of it. I mean, the more you go deeper into it, you will be horrified to find the expanse of it and the depth that is still there to be covered. So it's not easy to gather knowledge. It's like an ocean.
And there are also questions on societal pressure, question on family pressure, that how they would overcome this family pressure, the societal pressure, the expectations. It's really difficult for them to adjust to the two sides of their life. One is the expectation and the desire. So what would you advise to the students so that it becomes easy for them to decide which way to go?
Good morning, Singh sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
Good morning,
sir.
Vinita ji. I was attending from last an hour, deliberately not starting my video so that I can hear you properly.
Okay,
Carry on, please.
Yes, Banin ma'am, you were telling about societal pressures, family pressure. All these will consistently be there in anyone's life. We all belong to different segments of society where we have got our own levels of societal pressures. As I was telling you, like when I thought of going ahead with my teaching profession, just to keep myself away from depression, so that mentally I do not succumb to my situation. There were societal pressures upon me. There were certain pressures which wouldn't allow me to go ahead with it. But when your mind knows that what you want is correct, when you are on the side of righteousness, there should be nothing that should stop you. If need arises, you should even fight that pressure and get up. It is this thing that is important. Otherwise, pressures will be there. some sort of pressure or the other, but you need the right judgment at that time to know whether the pressure is correct. Is it for my good? If it is not for my good, I better not succumb to it. Yes.
There are also questions, many questions related to converting your weakness and strength, and how to stay motivated. You have already spoken at length on all these aspects. I think I'm very sure students have taken the messages that you desired to extend to them today.
Weaknesses and strength, I would definitely like to put forward one thing. What is weakness? The thing that we do not want to polish, the thing of ours that we do not want to, accomplish something, the thing of ours that we do not want to, that does not allow us to learn something. That is what becomes our weakness. The moment we think that we need to polish it up, we need to brush up this knowledge of ours, that slowly becomes our strength. There is nothing called weakness, I think. I mean, as humans, we are empowered enough to turn any weakness into our strength. And history is full of such examples where people who, just look at the example of Stephen Hawking. I mean, would anyone have told that, oh, this man hasn't done anything? He had every right to sit on the wheelchair and not do anything all his life. I mean, if we count the number of weaknesses the person had, was it at all expected from him that he would achieve all that he had? How to convert that weakness into strength is again a matter of our grit and determination. How much we are determined, how much we want to achieve that thing. You know, it's your how adamant you are that no, I must get that thing. That is what converts that weakness into strength. Students never say anything is my weakness. Nothing can be your weakness. Just keep that attitude in your mind. The one who says that I am weak in this, I am weak in that, definitely is lacking in his own efforts. That's why that weakness is still there.
Yeah, Dimpa, you can take on.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for such a very beautiful words that you have spoken about and enlightening us. And since we have our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. S.P. Singh, sir, with us, sir, would you like to speak a few words on the positivity and how the students could be guided well, sir?
Dimba, I've been doing almost every day. I think I just say thank you to Vanita ji, and it was really deliberation or maybe message or maybe guidance and motivation, which I think everyone requires, including teachers and students. So I think lifelong learning, what is the new concept of new education policy, is been reiterated by Vanita ji today, because KBC or no KBC, but learning should continue. And that is what I gained from today's deliberation. Also, one thing I want to add on, I think maybe I'm trying to connect, not adding on anything what you have said, Vanita, but just fear and watching Karunpati. Many people stopped watching Karunpati because of fear. You know, that I have observed in my student and many children around me. They don't watch Karunpati because they fear that they don't know the answer. They don't know the simplest of the answers when it has been asked to a particular participant. And that fear, they avoid watching KBC, and they shy off from knowing that they don't know. And that is the biggest problem, in my opinion, in today's generation, or maybe my generation also. Many people do that. Unless and until you know what you don't know, unless and until you have been exposed that what has been known by others and you don't know, how you know what you should know. So that is where I have my just message to my dear students. Many of them are attending webinar. Many of them are at times absconding attending webinar because they are fear. They also have fear that whatever good things we will tell them, they will not be able to follow it. It's better not to listen to you. So, I mean, this kind of attitude, not to listen, not to be heard, I mean, not to understand and have fear to know that you don't know. These kind of things, in my opinion, are very, very important things in life. And you should know that what all you need to do in your life. So this is, I'm just, you know, trying to bring that question of fear, because fear is the biggest fear. You said that. And, you know, the feeling of fear. So this is with KBC is there every day. I'm watching almost every day. I mean, I'm watching it from so many years. I never tried to be there in KBC, but I know Vanitha ji very well that most of the times I'm able to answer almost all the questions. So this is the way life is, and I'm very fortunate. I will say that I feel good about it, and I expect all my students to also you know, watch KBC and participate in quizzes and learn more. Try to see what all is required in life to become a multifaceted personality, a complete personality, a knowledge human being, because knowledge is power. And if you're knowledgeable, nobody will be able to, you know, press you towards the wall, or maybe will be able to exploit you. So knowledge is something which is very, very important. Please don't have fear in understanding that what you don't know, and try to achieve what you don't know and what you should know now. So this is, I have this just not in my mind. I mean, just came to my mind, so I shared. Thank you so much. I will not take much time. Vanitha, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I would like to add one thing over here. Just recently, our chairman, sir, he had written an article, "Sharpen Your Axe." That is one thing which actually caught my attention, you know, and I would like to share this with the students, what this means. Sir had written in that article that during this lockdown time, so much time all of us have got. How did we utilize that time of ours? Those who use that time to sharpen their axe, you know, he had very nicely illustrated his article with the story of two woodcutters. One woodcutter, he just was cutting the tree and he got tired. So he sat down. He thought that after some time he would go and he would again try to cut the tree. The other woodcutter, he also got tired cutting the tree midway. He stopped just to sharpen his axe. You know, he sharpened his axe during that time while the other one was resting, you know, thinking that he would be energized to cut that tree later. So the second woodcutter, he sharpened his axe at that time. The moment the two of them got up, within seconds, within some time only, the second woodcutter completed his work and went off. Whereas the first woodcutter, that little energy that he got with that rest was exhausted again, and he was still on with his work. So the one who sharpens his axe will definitely cover that extra mile in life. We must all use any time that we have. In fact, we must take out time from our busy schedule also to sharpen our axe, which is so very important in this present day of competition, cutthroat competition, I would say. Thank you very much. I really thank Roy Global University for giving me the opportunity to speak with the freshers. And it was indeed very nice to interact with all of you. Thank you so much, Singh sir.
Thank you, Vanitha ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening